Hello fellow Saggy friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Sagittarius December 2020 Astrology Must Knows. This is the time of the year where it is so exciting to be a Sagittarius because all of the Saggy planets start sagging up our sagginess, and it is very exciting and a lot to celebrate. It's definitely going to be overstimulating. You're definitely going to be more busy than you even know what to do with, but there are a lot of reasons why that busyness can be very positive things that are happening, and we're going to talk about that. So let's get my handy dandy list here so I stay focused on the key points of our must-knows. The first thing I want to talk about, which actually isn't even on this list, and so I guess I have three things to mention before we start the list. The first is that this video is for you if Sag is your sun, Sag is your moon, Sag is your rising. It's for you, okay? The second thing is that if you're a late degree Sagittarius, like I am, okay, this is part of how I know this because studying charts for so long and then seeing how when I used to follow other astrologers in the past, how it didn't seem like it was lining up for me, the things that they were saying. I came to figure out that if you're in the late degree placement, so like December 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees if you're watching for your moon or rising or any other Sag placements, then sometimes the Capricorn reports will actually be more relevant for you in that month. Now for my videos, I suggest if you're in the late degree bucket that you watch the Sag and Capricorn, because I'm always going to say things in the Sag report that you're going to need to know, but I am going to go into some other things in the Capricorn report that might be more streamlined for that timing. So sometimes things we talk about are going to happen for all Sages, but they're delayed a little bit. So you can get certain things a little bit more current when you add the Capricorn video for your late degree placements. Okay, and then the last thing is birthdays. Happy birthday, fellow Sag friends. I'm December 16th, 24 degrees of Sag, and we've got an eclipse near that time. So if you're born December 14th or close to there, it's going to be quite a major year for you all, for us. And all Sages, because we have the eclipses in our sign since the middle of 2020 and then all of 2021, this is going to be a big time for all Sagittariuses, okay? So this is like, we'll get more into that, but I just wanted to talk about how, you know, birthday time is going to be very relevant, especially if you're in that near those dates, because the eclipse energy gets woven into your birth imprint for the solar return chart, so it's in effect for the whole year. That's the point I wanted to make. So astrological power periods are magnificent times to amplify your manifesting, your wishing, your intentions. So if you're trying to consciously create with the infinite creator, creatrix, if you're trying to co-create, you want to use these astrological power periods. And when the sun crosses over your rising, your moon, your sun, it's this opening for your wishes, and particularly birthday wishes. So if you search for making wishes come true, Annie, or I don't even think you need to put Botticelli, I think it will come up just with that. You can watch my video on how to maximize your birthday wishes, but happy birthday from fellow birthday Sag here. Okay, now we can go on to the list. So very, very, very exciting news. Every wild, rambunctious Sag wants to know, when is it time for full steam ahead? That time is now. Okay, so you will notice that things started to heat up and build up a little bit, like into October, things might have started to get a little more busy, but we still had retrograde energy then. As October developed, but you might have started seeing, even in October, your November and December calendar start to get super full, okay? And now here in December and the first half of January is the best time that we've had in a very long time for launches, moves, contracts, big decisions, anything of importance, anything of significance. You've got wild, open planets for that. And all the planets are going to go direct. That happens. We're there, almost there, except Uranus in December. And then Uranus will join the direct party in January. So for the first half of January, we're not even dealing with Mercury pre-shadow yet. That happens mid-month January. But for the 6 weeks of December and the first half of January, we're just like, woo, like really full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. You'll see my little equation here. Direct movement of the stars equals forward movement for us. Okay, so that is big. Double smiley face over there. Okay, so Sag energy. Going to light up everything Saggy. Books, writing, publishing. You'll see my new book is being launched in the midst of this. That's not a coincidence. I aligned it that way purposely. And I mean, some part of it was fate, but I did have a little bit, you know, finagling when it went to the actual date of the launch, because this is a time when writing, teaching, publishing, you know, speaking, languages, different countries, different cultures, even international trip planning, that type of energy is going to start getting strong, and that is very exciting. So even if you're not going somewhere internationally, you might have your eye towards next year when it's more likely to happen. Not to say that a random international trip couldn't happen in December. It's just that you're setting up for a long stretch of time when, as the coronavirus stuff starts to shift and things start to open more, things that you're doing in this period of time might manifest, you know, over the next year. Okay, and this is a time of just brilliant rebirth. You know, focus on your physical body, focus on getting a massage, you know, getting some other body work, getting, you know, doing your some like positive health things, starting a diet plan, starting a new food regimen. All of those things have amazing energy now, and that part of the chart for Sages is accentuated. And then you're going to have the Capricorn placements come in, which are going to give you a little bit more discipline. And sometimes Sages need that discipline, right? Because we're wild and all over the place. It's very difficult to narrow in. And but you'll have the combination this month of the Cap placement starting and Mars being in fellow Aries, you know, fire sign. And, you know, it's just really positive. So if you have to get pictures taken for work or just for like family stuff or for fun, this would be a great month to do things like that. Also, you might notice everywhere, every aspect of your life can start like really racing forward, but you might notice, especially like in home and housing and real estate and topics having to do with, you know, anything with your house or home or living situation, and topics with kids, your own or others, and romance and your creative projects. You might have a particular zest in those areas. Either things that you've been doing for a while will just start really showing up, or you're going to be really prolific with your expression, or both. But expect some creativity benders, okay? And make the space for that, because you can make some pretty amazing output at this time. Okay, so the Sag eclipses, this is going, I talked a little bit about this, but we'll talk a little bit more. Every Sag is going to feel this in a major way, but the closer you are to 23 degrees, the more intense this is going to be for you, okay? So that's basically like 18 degrees to 28 degrees. So that's, okay, so if 23 degrees is like the 14th-ish, 15th-ish, then you're talking 5 before that, so like the 9th, December 9th through 19th, and the closer you are to the 14th, 15th, the more intense. You all will have, hands down, crazy notable, life-changing experiences, and it's going to be pretty wild. Okay, so the early degree placements, so basically November born, and then also the first part of the December born, like we'll say the first few days of December, we'll even say first 5 days of December, you all are going to have energy of the eclipse in the first house of Aries, okay? So now let's talk about some other resources that I've created to really understand how this might manifest. You want to look for my Eclipses in Sagittarius video. That's a must know for all Sages. So you can find this on my home YouTube page, or you can just search organically for Annie Botticelli Eclipses in Sagittarius, and it should pull it right up. Every Sag will also want to watch my Eclipses in Gemini, because that November 30th eclipse is going to be very fully flavoring December as well. You're going to want to watch my Eclipses in Aries one, because the first house, and that's all of you, even those beyond the December 5th, because if you're anywhere close to that, even within 10 degrees, you might get some flavoring there. So we're going to put Eclipses in Aries for all of you to watch. And then if you are a late degree placement, again, we'll say like 18 to 20, 29 degrees, you'll also want to watch the Pisces, Eclipses in Pisces, okay? So because there could be a little carryover, let's just kind of put that for everybody December 5th on. that you can watch the Pisces one too. And it's not that you can't watch the Pisces one if you're not there, but it's very likely going to have strong resonance of some things that can show up. Now, those videos are so important and they're so comprehensive, and they cover all the things I've seen, ways I've seen eclipses manifest from doing thousands of readings over decades, and also of doing horoscopes and following these things really closely for 8 years. That's how long. Oh, and it's my 8-year anniversary on YouTube too, by the way, so that's exciting. Okay, so I did talk about this in the November report too, and you will want to watch the November report to get more details about where that November eclipse is going to be for you. But if you are in the early degree placement to the early middle degree placement, so basically like the end of November and into the first few days of December, you guys are the ones that are going to be most impacted by the other eclipse. So pretty much everybody in the Sag spectrum has it coming from one way or another to have crazy change, okay? All right, so now let's get to this hot date summary. We've already talked about some of this. November 30th through December 5th, I'm giving the thumbs up, yay, because we've got a series of sweet aspects. So if you've got to do important things, if you've got, any of the big things that we had talked about, launches, this and that, there's some really great energy in there. And there's great energy for the 6 weeks of all December and the first half of January. But this is a nice spree of nice aspects that are uninterrupted by nuisance ones. Those start on the 6th, and you might have a little flavor of it, but then they're scattered throughout the month of just kind of being annoying. But this is a nice little block. Okay, then December 14th, we have that eclipse. Definitely note on your calendar the 18th of December and the 25th and 26th, because on those days, Mercury and then Mars will cross over where the eclipse was, the eclipse point. When I say that Mars crosses over there, it makes a trine to that point. Okay, so it doesn't actually cross over, but it will likely bring news. So those days, probably more news or follow-ups from the eclipse will occur. December 21st, we've got the crazy historic Jupiter-Saturn lineup. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I'm pretty excited about Jupiter in Aquarius and Saturn in Aquarius for Sag, because they make 60-degree angles. So we've got a whole year of Jupiter smooching, and you can look at my Jupiter series. I made a whole Jupiter series, which you can find on my homepage too, of Jupiter in Aquarius for each sign. So you'll want to look for Jupiter in Aquarius for Sag, and then Jupiter in Aquarius for whatever your rising sign is, if you know it. But I go through and tell you when all the dates are for your kisses, your extra special kisses. And then Saturn, we're going to have years like into 2023 of Saturn being in a sign that makes nice aspects. So we've been really annoyed and stressed by Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn. It has not been good for Sagittarius, okay? But I'm really excited about these placements. Now, there will be wild changes, and there will be historic things that go on, and some of those might be challenging and not good even, and there may be chaos, and there will be tumultuous times, and there will be super weird things happening. Super weird, okay? Aquarius is the sign of weirdness, and we're going to see it. You're not even going to believe it. We're going to see it, okay? 2021 is going to be another epic year like 2020, but it's going to be different, more progressive, more forward moving, whereas 2020 was like the problem, the crumbling, the busting up. 2021 is the rebuilding, and and I'll talk more about that. But this epic connection happens on the 21st at the 0-degree point of Aquarius. After I go through these next few points in our timeline here, I'm going to go back and talk more about Jupiter and Saturn, including answering the question, won't Saturn, because I had the question, it's a great question, won't Saturn interfere with Jupiter's expansion if it's in the same sign, and what does that look like and all that? So I'm going to answer that question after this timeline. Okay, so December 24th through December 27th, we've got a series of nice aspects, including Mercury and then the Sun making the most fabulous aspect in all of astrology with Uranus, the planet of surprises and things out of the blue. This happening in an Earth sequence, though, so some super important things can get locked in. I mean, you might get some presents, holiday presents or news that something that you've worked on has gelled, you've reached a long-term goal, or something has been solidified for you that's going to set you up for the time to come. And we've been talking about, if you've been watching my reports this year, how Sagittarius is in a major evolution with our finances, okay? Because we've got a massive outer planet congregation in the energy of the second house, and through Capricorn, you know, so like business and work and individual self-sufficiency, including paying off debt. If you're a Sag that's really been obeying what Jupiter's been wanting you to do in Capricorn, as annoying as it's been, and I've talked to you about this throughout the year to make sure that you can take an opportunity, and you still have time here. I'm posting this in October. But you can seriously mop up your credit messes in this time and get yourself financially free. And really, in this aspect here, can set you up for the future, and you might get good financial news too. Okay, so now December 29th, we've got a full moon at 9 degrees of Cancer. And Cancer is going to bring, so this is going to bring fullness, completion, fruition to everything with home and family and your inner world and your emotions. It's going to be emotional, but sometimes it's great. Like I can remember many full moon and Cancers that have happened by holiday time that have just been beautiful, really wonderfully remembered time with family and just like perfect emotional bliss. And that can happen. So, or it can be drama and conflict, and you know, we never really know how that's going to work. But there can be a little bit of a challenge for Sag, because the Cancer energy works in a challenging angle for Sagittarius. So especially those of you near the 9 degree mark. So again, this is like towards the end of November and the first few days of December. The closer you are to that 9 degree point, the more that's going to make an exact aspect to your Sag placement. Now, I've told you this before, and I'll say it again and again. If you haven't run a free birth chart for yourself online, search for how to do that, because you might have multiple placements in Sagittarius. And even if you don't, you can see the degrees of your placement, and then you can use my work. I mean, I'm giving you all of this free education that you can be totally capitalizing on in the way that you can enhance your knowledge. But if you don't know your degrees, some of these things that I'm talking about, you're not be able to take advantage of them. So I'm encouraging you to just see, you know, what the degree points are in your chart. This way you can use this more. Okay, so now I want to talk about this Jupiter and Saturn lineup and what I think about this. But in general, remember, I'm super excited about it, especially for Sagittariuses. It is going to bring, you know, crazy things in the world. There will be challenges. There are going to be unexpected things, and we're going to have another wild ride in 2021. But for Sages, it's in a nice aspect, so that's what we're working with. But I want to focus now on this topic of, if Jupiter, the great expander, is moving through Aquarius and it's moving through a certain section of your chart, then what happens when Saturn, the cruncher, the restrictor, the limiter, is also moving through? So the first must know with that is that, yes, Saturn can run a little interference as far as what Jupiter is trying to do. But in this particular sign of Aquarius, I'm not seeing that as much of a troublemaker as it was in Capricorn, because Jupiter is super happy in Aquarius. And when Jupiter is moving through a sign that it's happy in, it can get really carried away. Okay, Jupiter rules excess. And I know a lot about this. I have an astrologer friend who calls me a one-woman Jupiter transit because I have so many placements of Sagittarius in my chart that, like, the epitome of all of the energy of Jupiter in myself, my expression, and my life is like very Jupiterian, okay? It can be extremely excessive to a fault, to where it burns itself out, to where it turns into something not great, okay? And so I see Saturn kind of hanging out there as like a little babysitter. It's like saying, okay, I see you're happy and you're rambunctious with your new toy of being in a sign that it likes. Here, let's just kind of make that more sustainable, make that more effective, make that more responsible, and have that be more of like a constructive accomplishment. You can also kind of think of this energy like a prescribed burn, when they're trying to clear out some underbrush to protect from wildfire issues in the future. A prescribed burn allows a burn to only get so far so that it can be productive, and then it just cuts it off. So I see this as kind of like a little guardian protector in this case. And so that's exciting. Now, something else to know about this is that Jupiter and Saturn are only in close proximity in the sign of Aquarius for December and January. Then after that, Jupiter just rolls out and leaves Saturn, the old guy, in the dust. It's like, he's like, okay, father time, I'm going to be on with this. And it just kind of races through Aquarius. And then when it does retrograde, it still stays at the later degrees of Aquarius. So it's not going to come back in the very close proximity that we're seeing here in the December-January timeframe. So the most hindrance and the most challenged points of them coming together we're likely to see in the December-January timeframe, but hopefully that will soften over time. And then just kind of see them as like working in cooperation as they're moving through the different areas of your chart, which again, this is going to kind of be staggered. So I'm not that concerned about a lot of negative effects of it. I'm more interested in how there are likely to be positive and supportive effects for the reasons that I mentioned. Okay, so there were two other things I wanted to mention about this. The conjunction that Jupiter and Saturn makes is at 0 degrees. It's right at the beginning of Aquarius. And at that time, we have the planet Pallas Athena right there. And Juno is right there in a 60-degree angle, which is a super positive angle. Okay, so this is speaking to the feminine principle coming into play here in a more notable way. And this is kind of a way of the future. The future is going to have more of this feminine masculine balance. And notice that I'm not saying male or female. It transcends the gender distinction. It's the energy of feminine and masculine within ourselves. It's the energy of feminine and masculine within the society, within the systems. It's just adding more of that balance. So with these two ladies here, kind of supporting this connection, I think it's going to speak to a really nice balance that can also hopefully offset some of the challenge points. And we are in for another wild ride in 2021, I'll be honest with you, but I think the types of changes that will come from the outer planets coming together are more progressive and more have to do with the fact that change is coming and there will be resistance to the change, and that some of the changes that are suggested are not necessarily the best ones, and kind of finding the balance. That's going to be the story of 2021. So if you'd like to have more information about how astrology can help you and how your awareness of the transits can be supportive to everything that you're working on, I have lots of free resources. The free resources are also linked with hyperlinks in the notes below the video. If you click on the more button and the arrow, it's down there. But the first thing to know is you definitely want to go to anniehelpsyou.com, peruse my blog, especially my astrology blog if you're interested in astrology, and sign up for my free email newsletter. That is a definite must do, because that will give you, I don't send out very many emails and they're all very content rich with things that I've created to help you. I don't send out random emails. I send out about 3, no more than 4 emails a month. And they all have, again, links to things that will help you that I've created or that some other people are posting on my blog. So the next thing to note is that you get Shine, my 28-day virtual coaching program, for free when you sign up for my email newsletter. Okay, the second resource is go to lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. That's my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. And this school has some free classes, including a course called Unleash Your Money Magnet, and a couple of wellness classes, including one called Claiming Victory Over Viruses. And then there are also paid courses. Most of my offerings are free, but I do have some paid courses that keep everything going. And one of them is a course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you resonate with how I teach and you want to learn, I can help you to do that. My course is so crazy comprehensive. If you think I go into details in the videos and my other resources, you'll be blown away by the amount of magic that you have at your fingertips, whether it's for your personal pursuits and you don't want to do astrology professionally, or for your professional pursuits. The next thing is at cozybysweetstarlight.com. You will see my written horoscopes, which are much more simple and easier to follow. They're less technical. Also a month, I post my videos for the horoscopes 4 to 6 weeks early, and I post my written horoscopes at least a month early. So you'll see those at cozybysweetstarlight.com, plus an ever-growing list of astrology kissed blogs, ways that you can utilize your knowledge of the stars and syncing up with the natural rhythms. And speaking of syncing up with the natural rhythms of the universe, definitely get my book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You can get it on Kindle, you can get it on Audible, you can get it in print, and I suggest Audible one might not be out till like the end of, let's see, maybe the beginning to end of November. But you can get the print edition ordered now, and I suggest you get Audible and print because it's a long book and you'll want Audible for that. And it's a reference book, a beautiful hardcover reference book, so you'll want that too. Okay, so you can see it on Amazon, you can see it at any major bookseller. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month.